Hi, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to take out the intake manifold on your pre-LP Gallardo. We're going to be doing this on my Superleggera, and I have two issues. I have a coolant issue and an oil issue when it comes to leaks in the V of the motor that are impossible to get to without taking the whole entire intake manifold off. So maybe luck on my part that I have two issues in one, or maybe no luck at all. I'll let you decide that one. It's a little bit of an involved procedure, but it's fun at the same time. So I'm really excited to show you what it takes to take this out. And if you didn't see my previous video, I went into full detail about this intake manifold, taking apart every piece of it and showing this beautiful, wonderful piece of cast aluminum that Lamborghini built and derived. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the tag above. And then in the subsequent video, I'm going to show you what it takes to replace all the components in the V that are causing you such problems. And it might be a problem on your car as well. So stay tuned for that one. And at the end of this video, I wanted to give you some general recommendations on which gaskets you can reuse when it comes to reinstallation of this intake manifold. And it might save you a little bit of cash. So stick around to the end for that. So first we're going to start out with pulling the air boxes off, just the top portion and the associated air filters for the left and for the right. Go ahead and remove the throttle bodies. They're both held in with 4 T30 Torx, and they come right out of the car, and then you have an associated gasket as well. And although this isn't really necessary, I thought it'd give me a good opportunity to take them off and clean and inspect them. Now that we have those throttle bodies off, we can start working on the main intake plenum assembly. And these fasteners on here are tricky, so I'm going to show you them on the bench so you can have a little bit more clarity when it comes to your car. So on the top of the intake manifold, this being the rear of the car and then this being the front, you have several T30 Torx. You have two here, two here, two here, two here, and then finally in the back, these are the trickiest ones. You have one right here and one right here. And you're gonna want a extended length T30 Torx to get into the back here. So you can get it out of the car with this intake manifold in the car and the engine in the car. So just be careful with that and go slow. But these are the two hardest fasteners to get to. And then while you're in here, remove the connector for the manifold absolute pressure sensor. So on the outside of the intake manifold assembly, you're going to find more fasteners. This being the rear of the car, and then this being the front. And you're going to find a T30 Torx here, 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 and here. And it's going to be obstructed by a fuel rail that runs this length right here. And there's also going to be a wiring harness that runs in this area right here. So I went ahead and put the fuel rail back on to show you what exactly you're looking at in here. You're going to have a tough time getting a T30 Torx into this fastener. So what I recommend is something completely different than this. But if you have a set of snap-on tools or something fancy that can get in here, by all means use it. But what I'm going to show you worked for me, but traditional socket wrenches aren't going to work here. So what I did with this in the car was I got a 1/4 inch spanner, and then I got a T30 Torx bit, and I fully seated it underneath this fastener in the intake manifold, and then loosened it up with the spanner. So what I did was I put my finger under here and made sure it was fully seated, and then I proceeded to loosen it. And all I needed was maybe a couple turns, and then this was able to come out with just my fingers. If you have a different method for this, I'd like to hear it. It might help other people as well. So leave it in the comments below. I'd like to hear what your perspective is on this, because these fasteners are just a little bit tricky. And then finally, we have two hoses, one right here, and then one on the opposing side behind the throttle bodies that we have to remove. So this hose is a little bit tricky without the throttle bodies removed. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a pair of vice grips, clamp this spring clip between the two parallel surfaces, and clamp it enough to where it will want to slide down just like that. And then once it's off of that brass bung, maybe an inch or so, you can release the pressure, and then the hose will come free. Then we finally get this upper intake plenum assembly off. I like to take this intake manifold out in 3 pieces. 1, because it's pretty heavy. 2, because we get a look at the intake runners. And 3, because we get to clean everything. Then once we have the intake plenum off, I recommend covering up all these runners with tape. Just so you don't get any fasteners in there or anything like that. Just use masking tape. I don't like to use duct tape because it tends to leave residue on the surface. So best to do that when you remove the plenum, and then when you remove the middle assembly as well. Next, we're going to focus on removing the fuel rail, relocating the wiring harness that is located in this region away so we can actually access the top intake manifold assembly. So on the fuel rail, you're gonna find 3 fasteners, one right here, and one right here. And this is gonna be holding in both the wiring harness and the fuel rail. And you're also gonna wanna disconnect the wiring harness, and there's gonna be connectors for the fuel injectors, a connector for a cam position sensor, and a connector for a variable valve timing solenoid located in this region. And the first thing you're gonna wanna do is disconnect the 2 fuel lines on this side and then on the other side. And you're gonna wanna support the fuel rail with a 17mm wrench, and then you're gonna actually take it off with a 19mm wrench. On the other side, you have your fuel pressure regulator, and this is the return line underneath. So you can use the same method of supporting it with a 17mm wrench and then taking it off with a 19mm wrench. And fuel will come out of these lines. So what I would do is just put a rag underneath and then call it good and let it drain. So there's also a line for the vacuum reference for the fuel pressure regulator that we need to remove as well. I'm gonna remove it from both sides, but you only need to remove it from one. So now that we have everything loose for the fuel injectors, we can finally actually remove the rail and the fuel injectors together. So what I recommend is you grab on the fuel injector themselves, not the fuel rail. Ask me why, I know. So if it helps, you can pull this fuel rail out maybe at a 10-degree angle, and then we can start to pull on the injector body itself. And these are held in with O-rings, so it might help to go from one side to the other and just individually loosen them up, and the injectors will start coming a little bit loose. And eventually they'll just pop out just like that. And then the rail will come out just like that. Move this hose out of the way, bring it down. Just like that. Now that we have the fuel rail off, we can finally access the fastener securing the lower runners to the middle intake assembly. So we have M6 bolts with a 10mm head. There's one right here, 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 and finally one right here. On the front of the intake manifold, you're going to find a vacuum solenoid that has a connector that actually needs to be routed through this orifice right here. You're also going to find 2 vacuum lines on here, and disconnect those. And underneath these vacuum bulbs, you're going to find a vacuum line. I don't recommend removing this assembly because these are very prone to break. So I really don't recommend it, and that's why I advise against it, because these are just very fragile and I don't want you breaking those. So it's just best to disconnect these lines instead. Then you're gonna find 2 knock sensors, one on each side of this bracket. You're gonna disconnect that and then pull it off. And then finally, we have a few hoses that we need to take off, this being the rear of the car and then this being the front. We have a hose here, a hose here, 2 hoses for the fuel pressure regulators that we already removed, and then 1 small hose right here. And these are held on with these super annoying clamps. And honestly, I just break those off. You can only use them once, and then I replace them with a hose clamp. And if you follow along this far, we can finally take that intake manifold out. And to be honest with you, it's heavier than I thought. Fuck, that's heavy. So, if you have a second person to help you, I'd recommend getting them at this point. Now that we have the middle intake manifold off, we can finally get all the components located in the V. And for you, it's probably going to be the point where you stop. You can get the majority of the components in there. And when it comes to removal of the runners, I'm going to give you some general guidance that you can use when it comes to uninstallation and some pitfalls that you need to avoid. But if you like this video, please consider giving it a like. I'm trying out new formats and I want to see if I'm giving you enough detail in this video to help you with your car. So if you could do that, it would really appreciate it, and it lets me know that I'm giving you good content. But with that out of the way, let's finish this up. If you made it this far on your car, congratulations. This is the farthest you usually really need to go to get at any of the area in here. Personally, I have an oil leak and a coolant leak. So that's why I'm taking this apart. But if you want to go any further, there's a series of T30 Torx located on this lower runner assembly for both sides. And as always, be sure to cover the runners with tape on both the injector holes and the runners themselves. And if you want to take this off, what I recommend you do first is there's going to be dirt that collects in this region. And you're going to want to agitate the dirt gently and then come back with a vacuum and vacuum all that up before you take that runner off. I'm just trying to eliminate as much dirt going into the motor as possible, and I really don't want that to happen to you. So something to keep in mind, and since this is at an angle, something to watch out for. Also, be sure to account for all the O-rings that are located on this runner assembly. There's going to be 10 on the upper stage and then 10 on the lower stage if you remove the lower stage. My recommendation with regards to replacing O-rings is if the O-ring is deformed or broken in any way, or if it's not sitting proud of the surface, the O-ring is actually meant to crush between two surfaces. But if the O-ring is completely flush with the body that it sits in, then you're going to want to replace it. But if it has a little bit of squish still, my recommendation is just to use it again. And when it comes to metal gaskets, I honestly have no issue reusing those again, as it's just meant to conform between the two irregular surfaces of the aluminum. So overall, pretty easy to take this intake manifold out once you know where all the fasteners are, especially on that upper intake plenum assembly. So fun stuff with that, and those hoses are no fun either. So some pitfalls to avoid, and I hope this video helped you. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And until next time, thanks.